Okay, it is now 6:33. I'm going to call this meeting of the Lawndale City Council to order. I'm going to ask our Madam City Clerk to conduct the roll call.
Good evening. Mayor Pro Tem Suarez.
Here.
Councilmember Kearney.
Here.
Councilmember Hoffman-Gorman.
Here.
Councilmember Cuevas.
Here.
Mayor Poland Miles.
Here.
All members are present.
Thank you. Our Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Councilwoman Cuevas, and we're going to ask Pastor George Magalini from Hope Chapel to lead us in a word of inspiration.
Please stand. Right hand over your heart. Ready? Repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, Council, staff. Just a short scripture and a prayer tonight. The scripture's from the book of Isaiah, chapter 41, and it's addressed to God's people, but anybody that believes in him, it's a promise and it applies to their life, be it an individual, community, or nation. He says, I took you from the ends of the earth, from its furthest corners I called you. I said, you are my servant. I have chosen you and have not rejected you. So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. Let's pray. Father God, we do acknowledge you tonight, and I count it a privilege to stand here and pray for the city that is closest to your heart, called the heart of the South Bay. We thank you for your presence here, Lord God, these many years, and we know that you who began a good work here, you will carry it on to completion. Lord, we thank you for this meeting tonight, and we thank you for dispensing wisdom upon your servants, that every decision made would be in line with your will and purpose, and indeed benefit and bless the people of this community, Lord. We thank you for everyone that serves here, Lord, from our sheriff's department, fire department, all first responders. We thank you for our veterans that have provided us the opportunity to be free and to worship you freely. We thank you for our seniors all the way down to our children, Lord. We pray your blessing and protection upon them. Again, we thank you for your presence and commit this time to you. I personally pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you, Pastor Magalini, for those words of inspiration, and thank you for always being here. Thank you, sir. Let's have our public safety report. Let's hear from our captain, Captain Palomino. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, esteemed members of the City Council, and members of the community. I'm Nicole Palomino, the captain of South Los Angeles Station, and I'm here tonight to present the public safety report for December 18th through January 14th. I will begin by discussing our notable arrests and investigations. So to begin, on December 19th at 1 o'clock in the morning, Deputy Fagino conducted a traffic stop of a vehicle that was being driven recklessly in inclement weather conditions. During his investigation, Deputy Fagino recovered a loaded firearm in the passenger compartment of the vehicle. The driver was subsequently arrested for various weapons violations and booked at South Los Angeles Station. Then, on January 1st at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, deputies responded to the 4100 block of 147th Street regarding a gunshot victim call for service. When the deputies arrived, they learned that a male adult victim was struck by gunfire and transported to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Excuse me. Detectives are actively following up on leads from evidence gathered during the preliminary investigation, and at this time, the suspects remain outstanding. Then on January 3rd, at 4:44 in the afternoon, deputies responded to a retail establishment near the intersection of Manhattan Beach Boulevard and Hawthorne Boulevard. And this was regarding a robbery that just occurred, call for service. Deputies learned the suspects attacked employees and stole property from the location. Detectives arrived on scene and obtained additional evidence and are still actively investigating the case, and the suspects are not in custody at this time. Lastly, deputies assigned to the Lawndale Service Center made approximately 35 narcotics-related arrests during the reporting period, which I'm very, very proud to report. And so regarding our traffic-related incidents, Motorcycle Traffic Enforcement Deputy Morales issued approximately 30 citations during the reporting period, which included violations such as failing to stop at a stop sign, speeding, and modified exhaust. Deputy Morales also monitored for drivers who violated the traffic laws on Hawthorne Boulevard, as well as individuals who violated the vehicle code while riding their electric bikes. In addition, approximately 20 traffic collisions were documented during the reporting period. And in closing, it was my absolute pleasure to hear all the positive anecdotes from the community regarding the Santa Sleigh Adventures and the toy giveaway. As I reflect on the holiday season and the end of 2023, I am thankful for the continued support of the Lawndale City Council, Lawndale staff, and the residents of this fine city. I look forward to 2024 and for the increased opportunity to grow and foster our relationship. This concludes my report, and I would be happy to answer any questions the City Council may have. Excuse me. Thank you.
Board communications, this is when you have the opportunity to speak to this body on items that are not on the agenda. If you'd like to do so, we ask you to line up by the flag. When it becomes your turn, if you would come to the podium, if you would start with your name first. At about 2.5 minutes, the amber light will come on to give you the signal to start wrapping things up. You don't have to wait for your name to be called. Just simply come to the podium after the person that's before you has concluded. So let's start with our first speaker.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me here today. I'm just here to give you a quick rundown of what events we're going to be having at the library. So we're going to start with Smarty Pants Story Time, 6-week session starting January 19th at 10:30. And this is for ages 2 to 5 with their parent or caregiver. Thursday, January 18th, we invite all teens to our From Page to Screen book club. Thursday, January 25th from 4 to 5, we will have our monthly Teen Advisory Board meeting, and this is for all teens interested in making a difference at the library. For adults, we have our monthly book club. The next one will be February 8th at 10:30. Our next ESL book club will be February 6th at 5 p.m. And lastly, our next meeting for our gardening club is Saturday, January 27th at 11 a.m. And that's it for me. Again, thank you for having me here today.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Yes.
Good evening, City Council. I'm Giovanni Leal. I currently live in Lawndale with my family, and I'm about to start work pretty soon. I guess I'll start with, I received a citation, I believe on the weekend. It was a Sunday, and it was a Saturday, and it was on Osage Avenue, right in front of my friend's house, who currently he pays me to just give him rides. He's my good friend that I've known since first grade, and so I was in front of his driveway, and there was a parking enforcer who came who flashed his lights right behind me, and I've never had any encounter with any park enforcement at all, so I believe, at first I thought he was a policeman, so I stopped there. I waited for someone to come to my window to talk with me or something, and as I waited, I heard like a faint noise, I believe, because later he told me that he was trying to tell me to move, to get out the way, and I barely heard that faint noise, and so I decided to move because I thought maybe he's someone who was just trying to go through the street, and I was blocking his way, and so I go to the opposite end of the street, and he finally comes out of his car, takes a picture of my VIN number, and I asked him, "Excuse me, sir, what's going on?" And he said he's going to give me a ticket for being in front of my friend's driveway just because I was going to pick him up. And I explained to him that, well, sir, I'm only picking up my friend. You know, we do this like almost every day. I'm pick him up from his house and go back to work and such. And he told me, well, you can't be doing that. I said, okay, I understand. And he said, I'm not going to charge you for that, but I'm going to charge you just for being on the opposite side of the road. And I said, are you, you know, I was, you know, to my fault, I was really upset with him and I was really loud about it. But yeah, it's something that's, you know, uneasy to bear, especially in my situation where I'm not, you know, currently at the time was unemployed. And so, yeah, I spoke with, under the, when I got the, how you call it, the ticket, I wanted to contest it because I told the person that gave it to me if I may contest it. And I've done something similar, and honestly, I filled out the contest before. I've done for another unlawful ticket that was given to me. And yeah, I didn't receive any notice or anything in the mail. I just thought if I'm gonna have to fill out a form, I don't think it's gonna work. So that's why I came here to discuss it with you.
Thank you
Yeah.
for that. We'll provide
So
some
I'm very
comments
nervous,
after
yeah.
everyone has opportunity.
What happened?
We'll provide some comments after everyone has the opportunity to speak.
All right, yeah, thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir. Oh, my mic is not on.
Hi there, everyone. My name's Andrew Blackney, and I'm a resident of Lawndale. I don't know if you guys were part of the city council. Remember back in 2009 when the city adopted the SBCC Master Bicycle Plan as a roadmap for how the city would adopt bike lanes and bicycle paths and bike-friendly streets. So it's important to me because taking a step back, I moved to Lawndale in 2021 and was really enjoying it, really enjoying getting to know the city, going out on runs as an avid runner. At the time, unfortunately, I did get hit by a car while I was running, and it changed my workout routine and my whole life, to be honest, but it changed my workout routine mainly. I had to transfer over from doing running to doing walking and biking, and it's really hard to bike in the city because cars are very aggressive on small streets. There's not any bike lane. To my kind of a little bit of skittishness, I biked all of the proposed bike routes that were on the map, and with the exception of Redondo Beach Boulevard, there's actually no bike lanes, no bike signs, and nothing in the city at all for bicycle-friendly access. On top of that, a lot of the sidewalks are kind of deteriorated. Well, I shouldn't say a lot of them. A few of them are very deteriorated, and some of them could use some work. I just wanted to bring that to the city's attention because I also did work on proposing to the Public Works Department to try and get some improved safety on 147th Street where I live. And they were very moved by my story and said that they would take immediate action to install crosswalks on that street. That was back on January 19th of 2023. I have been told by them every month since that they are actively looking at what streets they should paint so that they can have all the streets painted. Now, I know that, the city may move a little slow, but a full year to figure out what streets to paint seems a little long for me, especially when they said that they didn't feel safe on my street to cross the street. So I just wanted to bring that to the city's attention, and I'd love to have a conversation with you guys about this. I'm very enthusiastic about it. I'd also love to get into another meeting with the Public Works Department and talk to them about it and continue to work on this.
Okay, very
Thank you.
good. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, my name is Sandro Solorzano, and I'm a resident here of Lawndale. I just want to take the time to thank everyone, members of the council, for giving us an opportunity to speak. And the issue I want to talk about is permitting. And I've spoken to several of our friends that are also residents of Lawndale that have experienced their own issues with permits. And I can't speak for them. Obviously they have their own issues, but I just want to kind of speak to my situation. I've been dealing with a fence permit since 2021. So I've dragged on 2 years, going on 3 now. I've pulled for permits twice for the same fence. I've spent already $800 in permits, and the issue hasn't gotten resolved. And just to give some back history on how this began, I have a fence in As anybody who lives in Lawndale knows, that termites is a real issue here. So my fence had gotten eaten up by termites. So I decided to replace the wood, replaced it with Ipe wood because that's supposed to be good for termites and also very nice looking. I don't want to brag, but having one of the nicest fences in Lawndale. Actually been told that, but I bring that up because one of the points I want to make is as homeowners, we really do want to make our property look nice. And if our property looks nice, Lawndale looks nice, we really do care about our properties. And so anyway, so I was doing that. I was in the process of that. Had a friend helping me replace the wood. That's when we got hit about doing these repairs without a permit. But kind of the backstory to that is that my friend, who's a hothead, got in an argument with the parking enforcement that day. And later on that day, we got a visit by inspectors, and next thing you know, we got hit on this. So I can't say for certain that that there's correlation there, but it just feels like it feels retaliatory the way we got hit with this permit. And so, like I said, now this thing is dragged on for 2 years. I've been trying to get solar panels on my property. And then, obviously they try to pull permits, but they're being held up because of this permit. So again, and so it's prolonging that project as well. And so I just hope that this matter gets resolved. Like I said, to this, I recently, I don't hear back from the inspectors. I don't know where they're at in the process. They were supposed to have inspected, and last time they spoke, they point out some other issues that were unrelated to the fence. And so it just, so I really am trying to comply. I really am trying to comply and get this issue resolved. So that's why I wanted to bring this up, and hopefully we can get a resolution for this.
Okay, thank you, sir. Santos, right? Santos, yeah. Yes, sir.
Good evening. Matthew Harbison, resident, City of Lawndale. I just wanted to commend the Public Works Department and Leia's department. I had a person dump a couch in front of my residence, and we weren't sure what to do, so I called, and by the end of the day, it was picked up, so thank you. And a couple Fridays ago, someone had dropped a plate glass window from their truck, and the glass went all over the street. There were little kids going to school, and so it was a Friday, but we made a call, and Rudy came out at his shovel, and it was an opportunity for the neighbors to get together because we were trying to sweep this up, but he came out quickly and helped clean that up. So I just want to say thank you for having a good relationship with the community, and in that regard, you sent your people out, they did what they needed to do, and my problems were resolved. So if you'd pass that on to Leia, that things went well, I just want to say thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
Good evening, Gerardo Sandoval. I'm a resident of Lawndale for somewhere between 6 and 8 years now. In the past couple of years, me and my family, just these prices of things are just going crazy, and we found out that there's a great facility here, and we tried to rent out this place for maybe my sister's birthday, my niece's birthday, now a wedding, and now an upcoming wedding. And for the last 2 years, they've simply told us there's no foreseeable, way back to renting these rooms out. And from my understanding, it's a lack of staff. Apparently, nobody came back, or a lot of people didn't come back after COVID. And so that's my concern, not concern, but my request is I would like to know if there is some kind of plan to reintroducing or continuing that service to be able to rent out either 1 or 2. That's a great facility, and like I said, from my understanding from the past years, it's a reasonable price. And every time you tell somebody, I want to rent a room, and they tell you it's a wedding, all of a sudden they jack up the price, I don't know how much. So it'd be great, I think, a great service for the community of Lawndale, and I would really want to get a conversation going how soon, if there is some plan to maybe even tack on a fee to whoever's renting for the staff to be present. Or even, is there an application process for people to apply to be part of the staff so we can get more people possibly working? Or if I can provide my own staff, we can do that too. So I would just love to have a conversation at some point, or even just get some update on the foreseeable future for a day to implement that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Yes.
Dina, Lawndale resident. I just want to say, with great sadness, we all knew her. She was a local staple, is Carrie on the 405 off-ramp in Inglewood Avenue, and she has passed away. She was only 55, and we all saw her daily. She's been around for a long time, just like Mike was on 166 and Hawthorne Boulevard. She grew up in Redondo. She ended up, going through a lot of issues and what have you, and a lot of mental illness. But she was here in Lawndale for a long time, and everybody knew her. Her fashion style was somewhat interesting at times, and her makeup, but again, mental illness. And a lot of her friends, this I found out through next door, they kind of gave her a little bit of her background, story. And then friends also chimed in with what she was really like, in her younger days before all this hit. So she is, you get to hear this stuff or read this stuff and understand that she was truly a human being besides all this other stuff that she went through. She did get off the streets and she got permanent, she got some help, and then they found some housing for her. So that was just awesome to see. Also, they had a picture of that, her and her housing or whatever. But unfortunately, 55 is so young, and she did pass. So again, she was a Lawndale, regular. So just wanted to make that announcement.
Thank you for that. Yes, sir.
Good evening. In my area, similar to last year, the holiday season has been the quietest in recent years as far as illegal fireworks. Christmas had a smattering of illegal fireworks, while on New Year's Eve the mortars lasted off and on for about 40 minutes. Compare that to only a few years ago when this activity during the holidays lasted for hours. After last year's issuing of over 100 citations, one can only hope that the word is out regarding the city's enhanced fine schedule for illegal fireworks, and hopefully has made offenders realize there are consequences for this activity. Hopefully, as the appeal process concludes, residents will be provided a report detailing the amount collected from these citations and the results of the appeal process. The funds collected from the $2,500 fines can be used for additional resources for July 4th, 2024. It is not too early to begin planning to counteract this year's July 4th illegal fireworks activities. Also, I'd like to say congratulations to Mike Estes on his upcoming retirement. I started attending city council meetings, and he's the only department head that was here in 2012. Over the years, I have listened to his many detailed reports to council, and best wishes on your future endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, with that, we'll close public comments. Bring it up to the diocese for any comments from the council. Let's hear from Councilwoman Cuevas.
Thank you, everybody, for coming out and speaking. Let's see. Michael, could we speak to Giovanni regarding his citation? I know that parking the wrong way in a driveway, it's illegal, but let's see what we could work with.
Yes, I'll speak to it at the meeting, of course.
And then, who could help Andrew regarding the bicycle?
Mayor and Council, Leah, the concerned resident can meet with Leah in Public Works. We're already working on the crosswalks. We have been in the process. I know it's taken some time. Leah's been working on that, and I sent an email last week concerning that, so we're on top of that.
And Leah, did you inherit that? You weren't here when the whole...
Yeah, I inherited it, and we actually put out some quotes to our traffic engineer on call, and that the 147th is part of that, so we're working on it.
Okay, thank you. I guess this is for Sean, since we don't have anyone from permitting.
Yeah, this
Could we
issue
work
right
on
here,
that?
Mayor and Council, I'm aware of it. We can't issue new permits when they have an outstanding code case. Staff's been out there several times with the property owner. If the applicant can come back in and talk to Mr. Hernandez, he's here this week, he can talk to him about the corrections on the fencing so we can get him moving along and get the other permits issued.
Okay, because I don't think it should take that long to fix some permit issues.
That this is correct, but sometimes the applicants, they don't meet the code requirements, and it's, there's multiple corrections and issues that have to be resolved, and sometimes that just happens.
Okay, thank you. Matthew, I'm glad Public Works was there. They're always fast and responding if we call for pickup. So also I want to remind the residents that they do have 2 free pickups from Consolidated or what, Republic. So, if you have big items, bulky items, don't throw them on the sidewalk, just call for a free pickup. Mike, with regards to the community center, banquet room, it would be nice to maybe put something together for this year's budget to see if we could open it up. It would be nice to have our residents use that again. Dina, thank you for letting us know about Carrie. I was wondering why I had not seen her in a while. And I haven't been on Nextdoor in a while, so to read those messages. And Randall, I would like to see a report on the firework citations and all that, hopefully next month.
Mayor and council, unfortunately, I sent you an email. There's 3 of them at Superior Court, and we still have 3 of them in the appeals process. This process is taking longer than anticipated, but with the number of citations issued, it does. And folks have a right to appeal after if they're not happy with the administrative process, they can appeal to the court too.
Okay.
And that's where 3 of them are at. So we're hopeful by the next month we can have a summary update, or the month after.
Something short, a report that says, similar to the email we received, that you could just say, we have this many in the appeal court, this is what we paid.
Not a problem.
Thank you. But once again, thank you for coming out.
Okay, let's hear from Councilwoman Hoffman Gorman.
I like this seat. Thank you to everybody that came out to speak. I think my colleague here on the left, she did a really great job at covering a lot of the things that I would like to have mentioned. Just to piggyback on her comments about fireworks, since this is our first year that we really had a lot of violations and changed the amount, I think that it stands to reason that this is probably the average time of getting through all this. So I think that this is kind of a learning curve kind of thing as far as getting that information. So again, talking to colleagues up in Sacramento the other day, fireworks, it's in every community, and they're all being hit hard, and they're all equally going up in their fines to the maximum because we're in old buildings. We're too close together. We have too many people living in these buildings, and so it's more than our community that's nervous. The potential fires that could break out and the problems that these fireworks are causing. So again, Randall, thank you for bringing up fireworks. They're big on my ticket too, so thank you.
Okay, you good? Okay.
Thought you sleeping.
Councilman Pat Kearney.
I just want to thank the 2 ladies and the 6 gentlemen that came out to speak tonight. And I believe my colleagues to my left, Miss Librarian, for all your information. Thank you for that. And with that, I'll pass it on.
Thank you. Madam Pro Tem Suarez.
Okay, I'd like to thank everybody that came out tonight. I'll touch on a few further questions that I had regarding some of the comments that were made. With regards to the crosswalk, do we have a general ETA on when we would expect that painting to take place? Is it like another year out, or?
We have the quotes out right now for the traffic study for that street. So as soon as we get the response and we get the contract going, I'm hoping within the next month or 2, we can have the design, and then from there we can bid for the construction of it. So it depends on the traffic study and what they find. So we're hoping in the next 6 months, I'll say.
Okay, that's helpful. And then with regards to bike lanes, I know I've mentioned it many times, but I sit on the South Bay Cities Council of Government. They are working on safe routes for slower moving vehicles, electric and whatnot. So I definitely think that we should have staff look into if that's something too, where people can travel throughout the South Bay, slower streets. They even have new signs that they made with little slow moving turtles. So I think that would be very helpful if we reached out to their staff just to look preliminarily on getting that implemented within our city. And then with regards to, I did have a question regarding the, let me touch on the permits first. So I spoke to a number of residents who have been having issues or concerns about the permits. And I guess one of my question is, I know we mentioned we cannot issue permits unless an outstanding violation is corrected. Does that, no matter the offense of the citation, for example, like if a trash can's left out and you get a citation, can you not issue a permit unless something like that's corrected?
No, it's mostly land use issues and building code issues that we don't issue new permits, so.
And is that a state policy or is that a city
It's
policy?
a city policy because we have them going through code enforcement. We can't give them new permits if they still have outstanding. It ends up in a conflict. We're trying to resolve a lot of I don't know this particular one, but there's a fence issue that had a code violation, and they need to correct that before we issue any new permits. And there's some other issues too, I believe, but I mean, I'm not the code enforcement officer. I don't have the file in front of me. But generally speaking, you don't issue, if we have an illegal, not saying this is the case for this property, but in general, if we have an illegal addition, you don't issue permits on the roof for solar. So because we still need to legalize all that stuff. And so the situation just depends on what the merits are of the case and what the circumstances of the violations.
Yeah, because I guess for me, when I look at something, I look at it more as if it's a health and safety. You know, adding addition, I would look at that as a health and safety. But if it's something minor, for me, it doesn't quite merit, holding up a lot of other things. I know that's a big topic that the whole council would have to discuss. But I would like to bring back an item to discuss specifically when a permit's issued. If it's something minor, I don't want staff looking at the whole property and nitpicking, unless it's a visible health and safety issue where they can tell, wait, this addition's been done. I would like to look at the process, and I know this has come up in the past, and I know we're not all in agreement, but I would like to discuss that. Because I think some minor things, offense, permit, I don't want them looking at, for example, you're trying to get a door installed and then they start citing everything in the property or something like that. So I'd like to bring that back. I've also had concerns about timeframes for permits, processing times. And I've heard other people talk about different cities. For example, I had a friend that they're trying to get additions built, and they heard from City of Norwalk within a couple days, versus another city where it's been taking them a few weeks. So I kind of want to know where we lie on that in terms of how fast. I understand too, we're limited on staff. We do contract with the county for a lot of things, but I would like to look at processing times because right now too, we're trying to get people into housing. So if it's something where a landowner's trying to do some fixes, they want to move tenants in, I really think we need to look and see how fast we're processing these permits. And then I would like to look at, I'm interested in seeing maybe what the top 5 or 10 permits are pulled in the city and kind of look and see how we can streamline that process. I know in the past we've talked about making the codes easier to decipher and stuff like that. And I really think this year, I think that's something that we really need to take a look at. But I know that's a lot of items, so we'll start with just the top 3. And then one more item, the hall. If we're going to bring that back for the budget, I would also suggest looking at the security guards that we're currently using for that night and maybe getting quotes from them, because I know it might be cheaper for the, whoever wants to rent the hall to hire the security guard instead of the sheriff's.
Yeah, just for the council and mayors, just to clarify, to add additional weekend work, we'll have to take that to the budget committee and bring it back to the council because we had looked at that previously.
Okay.
And there was, some challenges with the budget because the amount of people we'd have to bring back to run the reservations. I think Mike's mentioned we need a supervisor, we need a coordinator, and then several additional part-time staff, so about 5 or 6. So there will be some cost to that. If the council is wanting to look and explore that again, we'll do that at budget time.
Okay,
Certainly.
perfect. And that's all I had. Thank you.
So, thank you. So I want to, first of all, I want to thank everyone who came out tonight and those who had the opportunity to speak. Thank you for your involvement in sharing your issue with us. Let me first touch on what the pro tem was touching on concerning the permits, and I think seem like we're kind of on the same page with this. This has come up, I think, before in terms of making sure that the permits are issued in a timely manner. Now, I understand there's different variables that come to play when it comes to getting the permits through the process or what have you, and some permits may take longer than others for various reasons. My view is simply when you talk about not issuing a permit because of some land use issues or what have you, I understand the thinking surrounding that. But unless there's a direct nexus, I don't think is advantageous to hold those permits up. Like for instance, I would like to understand how does a fence permit, how is that related to a solar powered solar, panels, 'cause it seemed like to me the nexus is not there. Now, let's say if you was doing if there was a nexus, I can see that maybe say the roof need to be repaired or what have you, right? And you want to do some solar panels. So I see the nexus there. You fix the corrections on the roof, then you can get your permits or what have you. I see that, but I just don't see that in this issue. And I think that's where the Mayor Pro Tem was kind of approaching the nexus that we would like to see when it comes to code enforcement for as permits are concerned. So if we can revisit that and make sure that that's clear and that we're clear on that so that we're not having permits being held up for, yes, we like for everything to come into compliance, but at the same time, it does have to be a nexus to it. The other thing I want to mention is the bike plan. We mentioned that that's going to come back at some point where we can take a look at. Now, we do have some narrow streets here in the city of Lawndale, so we may not be as conducive to bike lanes as other cities. That's just the reality of it. And you do have to have a certain distance between cars and allow cars to be able to transgress both directions unless you have a one-directional street or what have you. So those are some impediments that we have to work with in the city of Lawndale. So we may not have as many opportunities as some other cities to have bike routes. I'm an avid bike rider myself. I ride all the time and as well as walk, all the time. But we will take a look at that bike plan to see what's fitting for the city of Lawndale, and I appreciate that. The other thing I wanted to mention is, Dina, thank you for mentioning Carrie. We affectionately refer to her as Glamour Girl, because as you know, she's always dressed up, and she's dressed up and she's going places, and stuff. She was going places. Never gave anybody any problems or what have you, just going about her business or what have you. And so I'm sad to hear that she's passed away, but thank you for informing us of that. And Randall, the last thing I want to mention is thank you for mentioning the fireworks. I know fireworks is your issue, and I want to commend you. You let us know that things are working better than they used to work, or what have you. And I want to thank you for that observation or what have you. But we'll continue on it as we move forward. And next July is coming up or what have you. And this New Year's wasn't as bad either,
No.
as it have been in the past or what have you. So that's good. So with that, I will close my comments, and we will close comments from the council and bring it back to diocese to continue the agenda. We are now on item E, Well, we already did item E, so now we're on item F, which is the consent calendar. What, what is the pleasure of this body concerning such? See how fast we moved that?
I'll motion to approve.
Okay, the motion's been made by Cuevas that we approve the consent calendar. What is the pleasure, I need a second on that first.
I'll second it.
Okay, second by Hoffman Gorman. Is there any discussion on the motion? All right, would the council please vote on the consent calendar?
For the consent calendar, the motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, madam. Okay, next item on the agenda is item 8, City Council ad hoc subcommittees and standing committees. Who wants to give the report?
I will, thank you.
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and council members, Assistant City Clerk Yvette Hall. This report is requesting that the City Council review the ad hoc subcommittees and standing committees list. It is that time of year to review and decide if there are any modifications that you would like to make. Staff is requesting that you provide us with any changes that you have. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that report. So we'll look at the current lineup for the members of each ad hoc and subcommittee and standing committee. If anyone wants to make any changes or have any suggestions, we can
I
make
have a
those at this time.
suggestion. Okay. That if there's no change, that we leave it like it is.
Okay, that's a suggestion?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
If there's no changes.
I was gonna make that suggestion as well.
Yeah.
So does anyone have any changes they wanna make? They wanna switch committees? They happy with their committees?
I had wanted to, I mentioned it last year, sit on the budget subcommittee. I haven't had the opportunity.
Okay, let's look at that, the budget subcommittee. Let's see. What item is that? That's 8, right?
I can step down.
Okay, let me take a look at it. Who's on the
Shirley and
budget
I.
subcommittee? You and Shirley?
Yes.
Okay. Shirley, you said you okay with
I'm okay
relinquishing?
if she wants to, if Bernadette wants to take my spot.
Okay, so, let's see this, budget subcommittee. Oh, okay, it's on this page. Oh, I got it. Okay, so we will substitute Cuevas for Suarez. Okay. Any other changes? Let me see. Let me look on mine to see what I have. Okay. If there aren't any additional changes, we'll make that the order. We will keep things the same with the exception of the,
Robert?
yes,
One question,
yes, ma'am.
City Attorney. Maybe I should be giving up my Metro seat?
Oh, Metro?
Or am I allowed to serve on it?
What's it, Metro?
You mean Caltrans?
No Metro.
No, I see what you're saying.
say
I was
Metro.
thinking the same thing that Councilmember Kearney was thinking with Caltrans, but I do see the C Green Line Extension Subcommittee. I know that that subcommittee is not met since the conflict of interest arose, but Councilmember Hoffman Gorman, I think you're correct. I do think that that should be switched out for the reasons that have been made on the record before. Thank you for raising that.
And if it's okay, I would like to take that spot.
Okay, so we'll substitute Hoffman Gorman on the Metro C Line Extension Ad Hoc Subcommittee for Cuevas. Okay, so everything will remain the same except for the two committees, the Budget Ad Hoc Committee. We will add Suarez. She would take the place of Cuevas. And on the Metro C Line Extension, Cuevas would take the place of Hoffman Gorman. And the rest of the committees will stand the same, if that's the pleasure of the body. Okay. Madam City Clerk, how we doing? Was you able to record that?
Yes, that's everything I need. Did you want to do a roll call? Is that what you meant?
No, we can do it with unanimous consent, right? Yeah, we'll do it. Sound like we got unanimous consent. All right, thank you. Okay, without an objection, that would be the members of the committees. All right, let's take up item 9, award of contract service agreement.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Item 9 is the award of contract services agreement to Amtech Total Security for the City of Lawndale Security Improvement Project. This includes upgrading the system at the Public Works Department, Municipal Service Department, the Sheriff's, and the City Hall. The current cameras there are outdated. They have low-resolution images and narrow frame of reference, so the new cameras will capture a wider range, higher fidelity, and more memory for saving images. The scope of work includes the design of the security system, installation, and all the equipment and software, including testing and training for all the facilities. The lowest and highest ranking qualifications goes to Amtech Total Security with a bid amount of $146,063.23. So the total cost of the project, including materials, installation, and contingencies, is $175,275.88, which includes 20% contingency. Staff recommends that City Council award the contract services agreement in the amount of $146,063.23 to Amtech Total Security for the Lawndale Security Improvement Project and approve the contingency of the amount of $29,212.65 to avoid delays and facilitate the timely project completion. And that concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that presentation. Any discussion on this item?
I just have one question.
Yes, ma'am.
Do we know of any other cities around here that are using that same company?
I will have to look into that. I'm not sure. I know, Mike, do you have any comments?
Mayor, Council, we have used this company previously.
Yes.
We have,
Yes.
okay.
We have,
That's what I'm
but
wanting
not
to
other
know.
cities. I'm not sure.
We've used them in previously on a previous facility in the city.
All right, I'm just checking only because how different the fees are. I wanted a little bit of background. And so if we've used them before, that answers my question.
It's like 20,000.
I do have a question. Any warranty on them?
Yes, there usually is a warranty. I don't know what the exact time limit is. It could be 5 to 10 years, but I will get back to you on that
Okay.
with the exact number.
The funds are coming out of ARPA?
ARPA.
Okay. Thank you.
And also, you mentioned the warranty. Also, I guess we should make sure that they have the parts readily available. I know we had that system, that problem with our AVAC, where it only lasts a couple of years and the parts wasn't even
Yeah.
available.
We can look into that too.
So, okay, thank you. Okay, what is the pleasure of this body concerning item 9?
Make a motion for staff recommendation.
Okay, the motion's been made by Mr. Pat Kearney that we go with staff recommendation.
I'll second
And
it.
seconded by Hoffman Gorman. Any discussion on the motion? Will the council please vote? Okay, I keep pushing yes. but it's-
Maybe I don't want to. Try that one.
Okay, for item number 9, the
the
motion
fourth
passes unanimously.
Thank you.
I was typing.
Thank you, sir. Okay, item number 10, a recommendation to continue the use of Everbridge.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and distinguished members of the City Council. Thank you for this opportunity to speak with you this evening. The staff report you have before you is regarding staff's recommendation to continue to use Everbridge as the citywide emergency notification system. As you may recall, at the December 5th, 2022 City Council meeting, this council voted to purchase the Everbridge system as the sole provider of a mass notification alert system for the community, which will give staff the ability to notify the public with mass alerts regarding naturally occurring emergencies as well as man-made incidents. The messaging system is an opt-in voluntary system which allows for messaging to be connected to multiple devices, including landline phone systems, text messaging, emails, tablets, and cell phones. Messaging can be put out simultaneously and in multiple languages. The city initiated service with Everbridge at a cost of over $20,000 in our initial year, as there were startup costs that no longer need to be paid, which lowers the city's annual cost down to $16,667 per year. And staff is recommending that the city council continue their contract with Everbridge. Messaging is conducted regularly, test messages monthly for regional messaging, as well as internal messaging is also done regularly. This concludes my presentation, and I'm available to answer any questions at this time.
Okay. I have one question. It mentioned that other cities in the South Bay are already operating with this system successfully. And I know we are currently using them. Do you know of any cities that have renewed with them or have used them past one contract period?
I don't know the exact contracts for every city. I was on the messaging system today, though, and I did speak with our administrator today. I know every city that was on it is still using it. So I don't know the length of the contracts or how long the original contracts were. We only did a one-year contract because we wanted to make sure we liked their service. There's still a lot left to do in terms of onboarding and information gathering and putting information in. I do want to meet with our city manager and possibly our city attorney regarding privacy issues, because the information that is given to us is voluntary. People will be asking for emails, cell phones, any information they want to give us so they can get this information. But I know we also want to concern ourselves with privacy in terms of what sort of messaging we put out. I know other cities put out messaging regarding traffic collisions, smog conditions, police activity. So we can do that as well. But I want to make sure our residents don't get bombarded with messaging. There is such thing as messaging fatigue. We do get, I imagine all of us get email solicitations for products to be purchased, political campaigns, things like that. So I strictly want to use it for emergency service and related things, although arguably coastal conditions could be an emergency, smog conditions could be an emergency. So I just want to kind of get clarification from our city manager and attorney about what is best for us. But I do know other cities put out things like police activity, traffic alerts on the freeway, things like that. So we could do that as well. But again, we don't want our residents to opt out of the system because they're being bombarded with messaging.
Yeah.
Okay. Mayor, council too, I think the good majority of the COG cities that are under the COG, because this is a program generated out of that, are involved in the system. That's how we got directly involved with working with the COG.
Okay, thank you.
I do have one question. Micah, have we run a test on this for the citywide?
Yes, in fact, we were in the most recent one today, and it's not citywide. We ran it internally for the onboarding we've already done. Messages is done by Everbridge every month. In fact, the most recent WIA, which is a wireless emergency alert, was done on the 9th. It was the first one approved by the FCC. There were some hiccups, and I spoke with Soroya, our administrator, because I actually didn't get the message. Now, I was on vacation last week, so that could have been part of the reason, but it seems like the concerns are not specifically from the platform, but possibly more from the wireless providers. Certain providers might have done things incorrectly, and she's looking into it. But alerts are done regularly.
So the city will eventually get
yes, in
a
fact,
test run.
In fact, as soon as the onboarding is completed and the training I do with Soraya is completed, we're going to put out messaging on, or the plan is to put out messaging on our website and to put it in all our events so that people can provide us their information. But I want to be clear that because this is a privacy issue, we are asking people for their private information. So I want to make people understand that this is for emergency messaging, not for... we could use it for however we want to, but I mean, if we wanted to, we could announce events that the city hosts, Coffee with Cop, things like that. But again, if message fatigue, we don't want people to turn off this system or choose to go out of it. So I think it's better to message that information just through other outlets.
Yeah.
So. Thank you. Any other discussion on this recommendation? Okay, I'll entertain a motion at this.
So moved.
Okay, it's been moved that we adopt the staff
second.
recommendation to continue.
I'll second.
By Kearney and Suarez has seconded the motion. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, with the council, please vote.
For item number 10, the motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, madam. Next item, city manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. I'll be brief. In talking with, just to address the gentleman, the resident from 147, I did talk to Leah about the crosswalks, because I talked to the former director who had actually originally worked on it. And so we'll work with getting those crosswalks aside from the other issues, and I'll work with Public Works. I just wanted to bring that as a clarification that we are going to look at that and get those things addressed. So I just wanted to let the resident know, because I did get an email from the previous director about that, addressing that issue. So I understand that. I have no new information other than that. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's hear from Councilwoman down the far left. Councilwoman Cuevas.
I'm going to surprise you guys. I have nothing on my agenda, but I want to wish everybody a very happy new year. That's it. I've been good.
Councilwoman Hoffman Gorman.
Oh, goodness. I was up in the cold country of Sacramento this last week with California Contract Cities. A really good seminar. I always enjoy it, but this one was exciting in the fact that we did have a press conference, and we hadn't had one in a couple of years. And the press conference at the Capitol was to encourage the governor to do more to strengthen the penalties on smash and grabs. And our biggest ally from here in our area is the assemblyman from Torrance by the name of Maritsuchi. He's one of the writers of some of this legislation that is happening up in the assembly right now. I know that Lawndale is fortunate, and it's because we don't have so many large retail establishment, that we don't suffer from it like Torrance, but at the same time we are getting hit from it. So I think that if anyone wishes to say something to that assembly person, I think that, and encourage him, our officers do a lot of work, and it's just a real crying shame that our officers can make an arrest and get these people that are involved in this, and then they're let go and nothing goes any further. So I support harder penalties for the people that are indulging in this. They also, while up there, I think the overwhelming theme of all of the assembly people and senators that came to speak with us is we all have a relationship with our senators and assembly people, but get out of that box. There's other senators from other areas and other assembly people that when we have something in our area, we need to be quicker at asking the other people that represent California for assistance. Interestingly enough, one of the guys that I enjoyed personally talking to was a senator from Northern California, and I was shocked how close I would align with some of the issues in his way of thinking on some of the things that were brought up. And that was their point, is go outside of the box. Don't just speak to your senator and assemblyman. Go further. I do have one item that I'd like to ask a question on. Several months ago, we talked about the painting of, or finding out something about painting the electrical boxes that are sitting out on the boulevard. Mm-hmm. Where are we standing with that? What kind of information can we?
I have to get back, Mayor and Council, I have to get back to you on that. I know that's been brought up. We have not put any, if the council want to discuss it, we can put an item on the agenda for discussion. We can certainly do that. There's some limitations, as the council's aware, because we don't own the boxes, and we need to talk to Edison. But we can certainly put it on there and get some direction from council for future discussion.
Well, I'd sure like to see that. I don't know how my mates up here, I see one, but I think that if it cuts down on the graffiti and the stickers that are being placed, there's some pretty ones around us in other cities. So maybe it's something that we need to consider, and I don't have a problem with getting it out there on the agenda for us to have a conversation.
Yeah, we can definitely put something on and discuss, the impacts, having staff. There's a lot of implications behind that, so, to address that, to administer that type of program, so we can bring that up to you guys.
I'm just all about cutting the stickers and the graffiti. That's it.
Very good. Councilman.
Okay. I just attended one thing, it was a ribbon cutting ceremony for Tesla supercharging station. And Mayor Pro Tem and I had questions about just if they were just doing Tesla vehicles, and we found out they're doing all vehicles. It was interesting. We met a lot of people, the owners of the property. We met people from Elon Musk and all them good people. And I found 10 cents on the ground.
And he still has it.
Yeah, I still have it. That's it.
Madam Pro Tem Suarez.
Okay, so last Monday, I attended the steering committee for the South Bay Cities Council of Government. I did want to bring up that at next Thursday's meeting, they are planning to discuss whether to take a position on the sea line at that meeting. So some of you might be interested in calling in. And then I did attend the ribbon cutting for the supercharger Teslas. Apparently, I believe some of other manufacturers are going to start allowing their electric vehicles to charge there, but you might need, what do you call them when you,
Maybe like an
adapter or something of that nature. But yeah, it was very cool. And then I also did attend, on the mayor's behalf, the city selection committee in downtown LA. I was wondering if we can agendize writing a letter to our senators and assembly members to allow virtual meetings for that meeting. Just some of the cities requested if we could send letters of advocating to allow that meeting to be via Zoom, because I kid you not, all the 88 cities in the county are invited, and they cancel that meeting a ton of times, and you have to drive all the way to downtown LA. Imagine all of that, emissions and whatnot, and they literally only meet for maybe like 15, 20 minutes. So if we could write a letter and send it out, that would
We'll
be
have it on
nice.
the next agenda.
Okay, it should be something simple. I can probably even ask for a copy of a letter that we can just copy. And then just the items that I mentioned earlier, I'd like to take a look at, but I understand it takes staff time to look at some of those things. And with that, I'll pass it along.
Very good. So, these are not in any orders. First, I want to address the utility box. We brought this up, I think, at the last meeting, our meeting or so, about doing the utility boxes and why there was a holdup on it a few years ago or what have you, and that we did have the desire to speak with Edison concerning the utility boxes and possibly getting the youth advisory committee involved, or even some of the school children involved in either wrapping them or doing the actual direct art on the boxes or what have you. It might be also a good idea to our new art gallery in town, to have them involved as well. Forgive me for not remembering the name right off. Asmoa. For those who don't know, we have an art gallery in town, right there on the boulevard, Hawthorne Boulevard, Asmoa. Stop by and check them out. They have some very interesting art pieces. So that was, so I want to underscore the importance of that. Going back to the events, what Madam President we got to announce is that, well, I say Madam President for a reason, because she's now Madam President of the Centinela Youth Services. I finished my last meeting as president of Centinela Youth Services last week, and so she is now the reigning president of Centinela Youth Services, and she's going to do a fine job leading that organization. We are members, of course, by the way, of the Centinela Youth Services, and so she'll do a fine job as the new president of that organization here in the South Bay. Yes, the Tesla supercharger event, it was cold, but we got through it. It was cold that day, but we got through the ribbon cutting, right? And actually learned some things. Not only did I learn about the supercharger, but I also learned that the Tesla folks can't make comments, right? They can't make comments, you know. They can be in the photograph, but they can't make any comments or what have you, which was pretty interesting, you know, to learn that. So that was interesting. Very nice folks. So those who have opportunities, if you have a electric car, it doesn't have to be a Tesla. Stop by. It's right in the parking lot that's shared with Smart and Finals, right there on Hawthorne Boulevard. I also had a chance this past weekend to attend the Federation of Labor's annual Martin Luther King Jr. Breakfast at the LA Convention Center. And in case you missed it, I just had the honor of appointing Councilman Pat Kearney to the West Vector district. If you're looking for a non-exciting, district to be the trustees of, you found one.
Yeah.
Right, right. And we thank you for taking on that assignment, for being the trustee for the West Vector district. You know, they do vector. That's mosquitoes, rodents, and things.
I'm gonna put the boxes out on the trees.
You know. Right. So when they start spraying us with that stuff, whatever that stuff they spray, we know that you had something to do with it.
They don't use what we used.
They don't use that?
No,
Okay.
they don't use
They
what
don't
we
use that
used.
poison they used
Yeah.
to spray on us?
No. Oh, they use it.
Okay. Okay, very good. All right. So that's all I have. Okay, yeah, that's all I have. And with that, we do have one other item of business on this agenda, and that's a closed session to confer with our legal counsel concerning the conference with our labor negotiator. Let's have the, you know what you need to do.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That is under Government Code Section 54957.6. You'll be conferring with the city manager, the city attorney, and the negotiators regarding our current labor negotiations. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. All right, we have returned from closed session. I'm going to ask the city attorney to give the report of the closed session.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The City Council was briefed on labor negotiations. No reportable action was taken, and the matter has been continued to our next meeting. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. The next regularly scheduled meeting of the Lawndale City Council will be held at 6:30 p.m. on Monday, February 5th, 2024, in these chambers. It's now 8:29, and we are adjourned.